Hello, professor and classmates. I want to talk a little bit about the didactic unit experience I got from this from teaching to medic physicians at from the Caja Costarricense del Seguro Social. So let's get started. The target population, as I mentioned before, was to physicians at Caja Costarricense del Seguro Social, whose English level was A1 and B2. How did I set the different needs they have? Of course, I need applied in the analysis. This needs analysis the purpose of this needs analysis was to understand and to analyze the different needs these people have when using English in their job, in their daily life. So it explains a little bit about the first part, explains a little bit about what the needs analysis is, then it gives the context why it is important to teach English using their context, and in order to demonstrate or to understand the needs analysis of these people. So it has different parts. Part 1 or part A is the background information. It has some questions and which I want to collect how they manage when performing their different skills in English, how they work, or how well they work in English. The first question is test number 1. Have you studied English? Yes, no. So based on in these questions, they have to answer the question number 2. If they answer positively, yes, they have to tell the time they have spent studying this language. Less than 1 year, 1 year, 2 years, more than 3 years. Part B, it has the language skills. Of course, I wanted to teach English, so I needed to take into account questions related to this language. And this, it has just this image, has just the reading skill, but I asked questions or I typed sentences, statement for the 4 different skills: reading, listening, speaking, and reading, listening, speaking, and the other. So they have to mark what they think it matches their needs, or how they will work, how well they work in English. So then once that I have asked them their background, their skills, now I want them to ask I want to use the English for a specific purpose and this in with doctors. So I asked other questions. For example, number 7, it says, which one or one of the skills below do you need to improve? So I had to work the 4 different skills because the A1, the person whose English level was A1, said, I want to improve listening, reading, writing, speaking, all of them. So I needed to work with them. Then it has the question number 8. What would you like your teacher use in the class? that is not commonly used in classroom. Why did I ask these questions? I did it because as teachers, we used to we used to teach just grammar, but this grammar does not matches to the real context students have in every single in their real context. So I said two different statements. Sorry, for three different statements that can be used in the English for specific purpose. So it says having connection through the web with native English speakers who work at my job. So they said, yeah, I would like some, one of them said I would like, because of course, you know, that getting in contact with the real context is better for students um, to improve any skill. Then it says to create debates using information related to my professions. They say, yeah, I would like to. So it has, this is the part number C. Then once they have applied or they have taken the needs analysis and they have answered the different questions, I could plan what I want them to improve based on their needs. These plans were part of a didactic unit, which of course has its goal, its general objective, and its specific objectives. These two different plans shared the same goal and the same general objective, but they differed one another and their specific objectives. Okay, and the goal is at the end of the lesson, the students will be able to recognize different medical supplies vocabulary. The unit was about the medical supplies. So I want them to, of course, learn this this subject. Then we have general objective. Students will be able to use medical supplies vocabulary in their context at the end of the unit, of course. And the specific objectives, I set 6 different objectives. The number one, effectively identify different medical supplies by telling their names when the teacher asks for. So if you go then in the procedure here, you can see the teacher will call each students by his or her name, and then he will share his screen with two medical supplies. So students has to tell the medical supply in the picture. The teacher will tell each supply and students have to repeat each of them. So in this case, they have first to recognize, then the teacher said the correct pronunciation, and in this case me, I said the correct pronunciation, and then they have to repeat their pronunciation. It has the different skills. In this case, the objective number one, the skills, it was speaking. Why? Because I want them to produce in the speaking part. Then the useful language, strategies, grammatical, phonetic features, and the time they are going to spend on this activity. So then we have, number two, properly classify the use of 5 medical supplies without any help. And the instruction, it says the teacher will send sample in the blanks medical supply practices to the students by Zoom's chat. So they have to read the information and set the name of the medical supply and the descriptions that they belong to and send it back to the teacher with their names. You see, so they read the descriptions and they answer, okay, this is this. For example, This handout number one is for the objective number one. Then we have the handout number two, which responses to the objective number two. So in the instruction, it says fill in the blanks with the correct medical supply. It says, it's a device used to measure blood pressure. So what is it? Of course, the blood pressure monitor, okay? And the other is an instrument of weighing people or things. So we have there, this is special shared with wheels used by people who cannot talk because of illness and accident exerted. Of course, this is the wheelchair. So then we have, let's go back to number four, the objective number four, accurately explain the use of medical supplies in 2 minutes. So the teacher gives to medical supplies to them and they have to explain how they are used. Then the number four, clearly show understanding about oral given information without extra material. So the teacher gives a written paper which has some questions. So they have to listen to an audio and they have to answer it correctly. So here I want them to improve their listening skill, of course. Then successfully, number five, successfully demonstrate understanding of the use of medical supplies by having a conversation in the average time given. So I said, already included in this presentation's handout number one, number two. Because the other, for example, that's one, the main objective or the main task, it was to talk. They have to talk, students have to talk. So I didn't include this part because of course they were producing. It was not necessary to like take it pictures or something like that in order to show how they were producing how they were working in the production part. So during class, I took some pictures and I asked them, can I take some pictures in order to show how it worked? And they say yes. So here, as you can see, I have different different medical supplies. So like this thermometer and the others. So I ask each of them. So when I ask Jose, as you can see, there is one whose name is Jose. The other one is Mauricio. If I asked Jose, what is this? Mauricio, of course, have to be muted. And if I ask Mauricio, Jose has to be muted. So they already enjoyed this activity because they were like, I know how its name, some of them, some of the supply. I know how this is in Spanish, of course, but when I'm trying to use it in English, it's kind of difficult because I don't know the vocabulary and it maybe change a little or a lot. So touching this or using this activity will help us to remind the different, to remember the different supply. So, and it was my experience. I have never taught English for a specific purpose. I used to taught grammar, maybe listening, but not for a specific purpose. So grammar, like the verb to be, the simple present, the present progressive, the past, the simple past, the past perfect, the past progressive, but no for a specific purpose as it is. So thank you very much. Have a really good day. Bye.